Hi guys, so we're going into the chapter of material. Before we start making our first material, we're going to activate a rendering engine called Mental Ray because it has a ready-made architectural material template. So to do that, you have to press F10, and then we're going to go all the way down. Okay, click on Assign Renderer. In production, by default, it's Scanline Renderer, and you have to change that to Mental Ray. Select Mental Ray, click OK, and it's also useful for you to click on Save as Defaults here, so that it's going to be one-off change. So you don't have to change from Scanline Renderer to Mental Ray every time you open your Studio Max. And we're done with this. You can close this. Okay. So we're going to create our very first material. In order for you to do that, you have to bring up the material editor. You can either click on this button here, material editor, or press M on your keyboard. Alright, so material editor is going to show up, and each of these sphere represents a different material. By default, they're all plain gray. So basically what you see here is the standard material. We're not going to use this. We're going to straight away use a template because it's a lot more straightforward and of course faster. So to change to template, you have to click on this standard button right here, and then choose Arc and Design, which is at the topmost. Click OK. So you're going to have a new menu setting here, alright, which says Arc and Design Mental Ray. Okay, so by default, Arc and Design material is a bit shiny. As you can see, there's a glossy effect on the sphere. So we can always choose change the setting. I'm going to show you now. Okay, if we look into the menu, diffuse means color or the map of material. Okay, so right now it's gray. If you want to change to red, you can always click on this button here, the colored button, and just choose red, click OK. Alright, maybe that's not red enough. You can change that. You can also tweak this bar right here. Okay, that's better. So we've changed the color, but what about the reflection? Let's say we want to make it flat. We don't want any reflection, so we can go to this reflection menu here. Alright, so by default it's 0.6. We're going to make it 0. Press enter. So now you see the color is totally flat. Okay, there's no glossy effect on the surface. So that's for reflection. And say if you want to make it transparent, you can go to this menu here which says refraction. Alright, so right now the transparency value is at 0. You can always increase it, say 0.8. Press enter. You see the sphere is now relatively invisible. Okay, so it's transparent. The maximum value you can key in is 1. So if I put 1, it's almost invisible. Alright, so we're gonna change that back to 1 and 0. Okay, in order for us to have a clear view of the material, we're going to create 3 boxes and apply different materials on each. So we can close this for now. So create 3 boxes, right? And yeah, we're just going to copy this one. Don't use instant, right? You have to use copy, or else whenever you change one of the boxes material, the rest will follow. So use copy. Click OK. So we have 3 boxes here. Press M again to bring up the material editor. So let's forget this sphere here. We're gonna make a new material, 3 new materials. Okay, click on the adjacent, change from standard to Arc and Design, and for this one we're just gonna make it default. Alright, so how to apply a material? You can either drag the sphere towards the object, or you can select this button here, which is assign material to selection. Alright, so we're going to create another material. This one maybe, okay, first change to arc and design, of course, and this one we're going to make it, we're going to apply a color on top of it. Let's see, let's make it green. Alright, so I don't want to make this one reflective, so let's bring down the value to 0 in the reflection menu, key in 0, click OK, right, and select the box. This time I'm going to use this icon here. Alright, assign, you see now it has changed to green, and the last one is I'm going to make a transparent material. So as usual, change from standard to arc and design, and maybe this time I'm going to use the white. Alright, click OK, and okay, under the refraction menu you can increase the transparency value. Let's say let's make it 0.9. Alright, click enter, and yeah, just apply the material. You see it's see-through now. So that's how you apply or create a material and apply. We're gonna go through these other settings later. Okay, alright, so let's render this view and see the result. Okay, for you to render you have to click on this icon here which says render production, or the easier way is by pressing F9 on your keyboard. So yeah, this is the result of the material that we've applied to each of these boxes. You can see this one has a transparency property to it, and this one is supposed to be flat green, which is working fine, but this one somehow is not reflecting any light because it's in the box form. So we're going to change that to sphere. Let's delete this and create sphere instead. Alright, bring it up a bit and apply the reflective material on the sphere, and let's see, let's render again. This time I'm going to use this icon here, click on this. You see there's a reflection of light on the surface, so it's working fine. So okay, that's actually how you can tweak the property of a material, but you can always go to this roll out here, you know. Okay, you can click on this and you have all these options you can use. So this, for instance, this one is matte finish, this one is pearl and glossy, etc, etc. Alright, so this is a lot easier. So you don't, if let's say if you want to use a flat color, you can always choose matte finish. So I've just changed the glossy material to matte finish. So now you don't have to, if you use a template, you don't have to worry about the settings here. Okay, but you can change the color. So if you want to use green, alright, and then let's change this one to glossy finish. You see that now it turns to glossy material, and you can always change the color if you want to, say purple. And you see, whenever you change or adjust a setting of the material which has been applied to a certain object, it will follow it. Okay, so let's say this one here, it says transparent material. If I change it to something else, say I want to change it to chrome, it becomes chrome. Okay, so you don't have to like create a new material in order for you to adjust the look of this object. Right? Okay, now let's try experiment with a different type of material. So we're going to make another material. Click on new sphere, change from standard to arc and design, And yeah, we're gonna create a timber material right now. So let's find, okay, this one here, satin varnish wood. We're gonna use this one. If you click on this, and you see now the sphere has turned into the material of timber. And say if I apply this on the sphere and I press render, you get a timber material here, you see. Okay, alright, so we can always change that to something else. Let's say rough concrete, you know, change it to rough concrete and it will automatically change the object that has been applied to, and render again. You see now the box, I mean the sphere is in a concrete material. So you can close that, and say that if you have your own material, let's say you have your own JPEG file or any other picture file that you want to apply on an object, you can use that by of course always change to Arc and Design. And yeah, okay, instead of choosing the template, or maybe if, okay, let's say if you want to create a tiling material, you can choose the attribute here. Let's say if you want to make the tile on a glossy finish, click glossy, and instead of choosing color here, you can click on the box next to it. Alright, and we're gonna use bitmap. Alright, you can either double click on it or click OK. Alright, so I'm gonna use the JPEG file which I have. It doesn't have to be JPEG. It could be a bitmap or a PSD or any other format, as long as it's a picture image. Okay, then let's say, okay, I have this option here which I want to use. Say I'm gonna use this one. Click open. You see now the sphere has been applied with the material that you've chosen. Okay, alright, so it will automatically brings you into a new menu. Okay, we're going to forget about this menu and go back to the main menu by clicking on this icon here. Go to parent. So yeah, so now you see there's a letter M inside the box, which means map. Alright, so we're gonna apply this on, say, this box here, or maybe this one here, the chrome one, and it changes color but it doesn't show the material of the tile. And if you want to have a preview of it, you can select on this icon here, show standard map in viewport. So if I click on this, you can straight away see the preview of how it's going to look like after you render. Alright, so let's try to render. Yeah, and you have your tiling on the box. Okay, so what if you want to change the size of the tiling? Okay, in order for us to have a clear view, we're going to create a new object. Let's delete all of this. Alright, we're going to create a box. Alright, okay, so let's assume this is a floor. Right, and let's bring up our material editor again, press M, and apply this one to the box. Okay, you see, now you can have the preview of how it's going to look like after you render. But see, now I want to change the size. How do I do it? Okay, if you want to change the size, you have to apply a modifier. Okay, so always make sure that you've selected the object that you want to modify the size of the map or the JPEG. Alright, so I've selected this floor here, and I go to modify tab. As usual, whenever you want to modify, you can always go to modify tab, and inside modifier list, I'm going to choose a modifier called UVW map. Alright, UVW map. Click on this one and you're gonna have this menu here. So there's a lot of variety here of the way that you want the map to be applied on a certain object. So the first one you have planar. If you go to cylindrical, it becomes cylindrical, and spherical, box, base, and you can experiment on your own time. So now we're just going to use planar. Okay, and okay, this one here, the length and width, as you can see, when I tweak it, it becomes distorted. Alright, okay, so that's how you adjust the length and width. Alright, so you can also use UVW setting here, but usually I don't use W. I'm just going to use U and V. That's how I work typically. So let's say if I increase this from 1 to 5, I enter, it's going to be multiplied by 5 on the U axis. Alright, I think U is let's see, it's the X axis, and V is supposed to be the Y, I believe. So key in 4 and enter, you see. So it automatically multiplies according to the number that you have entered. So you can use either length or width, or U and V. Alright, that's all. So now just render this one. Okay. Well, basically that's all about material. Thank you.